Everyone has their own personal definition of happiness. For some people it's about love, but for a lot of people, happiness goes together with having freedom. And people imagine that having money will make them happy.
I don't think money can buy you a state of mind. And happiness really is an attitude. It comes out of what we think, because we're thinking creatively, we're thinking positively. The creative mindset. It means that I accept what is before me here and now as reality. I can either make it bad or make it good. My contentment is a state of relaxed acceptance. That this is the way it is. And if I accept it, I know that I have peace of mind, and I know lots of people are searching for peace of mind. And I think the secret there is acceptance.
I'm not sure if you can buy happiness, but you can certainly buy the tools that can make you happy. I deal with a lot of people sometimes that have a lot of money and they come and see me because they're not happy, and I say, well, you could argue to people that if money doesn't buy you happiness, you're obviously spending it on the wrong things.
The lotto ad, how great would it feel? Well, it turns out not particularly great over time, that there's a set point of our happiness to which we return. And if you look at lotto winners and you look at them down the track, they return back to their set level of happiness.
Your lifelong goal is to create happiness in your own life. And that means that learning to be who you are, living who you are, being that person, and then doing what you want to do is going to bring you happiness. And then you're going to have what you want to have.
If we're striving for more and more money, rather than striving for more and more happiness and more security, and maybe we're missing the point as well.
They think it will give them the freedom to purchase what they want. They think that they'll have the nice car, the nice house. They're able to take all the holidays they want. But the truth is, there is no link between having money and lasting happiness.
Once you've covered the basics in life with your income, then getting more income doesn't give you more happiness. If you look at the fabulously rich list, they're only slightly happier than other people.
If we are feeling poor, we're feeling insecure. And insecurity can lead to worry, and worry then can lead to unhappiness. So I think we feel we need to be secure. And in this day and age, we do need a certain amount of money to feel secure.
When you're below the poverty line, then yes, having money makes a difference. But if you're talking about the average person who, sure, they can't afford the luxuries, but they do have enough money to put clothes on their back, they've got a house to live in, and they've got enough money to buy food, then the difference between that and being a millionaire, being a billionaire, unfortunately, there's very, very little difference.
Perhaps if we seek happiness first, money will follow rather than seek money first and expect happiness to follow.
I call myself the Lady Janice with nice in a name because I actually had to learn to be nice to myself. I had looked after everybody else in my life, unconsciously, not knowing any other way to live, until I decided that I really understood I wasn't happy, and I really understood I had to create my own happiness. So Janice, the Lady with nice in a name, means that I actually have to be nice to myself first. I have to love myself first, look after myself, and then I can be the best for everybody else that I come in contact with.
Now you might say, look, if I can be 1 or 2% happier just by being richer, bring it on. But honestly, the difference is negligible, and there are much easier and quicker ways to become happy. And think about it. Think about all the rich people you know. Are they really any happier? Because there are just as many unhappy rich people as there are unhappy poor people.
So happiness is something that we develop from within ourselves and express through our talents and skills and learning how to get in touch with who we truly are and express from within.
Stepping back from a challenging, difficult, aggressive, horrible, ugly situation and simply being a silent witness opens up your heart, your mind to be creative, to be still, to be non-judgmental, and just notice and see. And you don't have to do anything. You're just witnessing silently. And it certainly does engender a wonderful peace of mind. Tell you what though, it does take practice. And you know, 28 days, if you wanted to make any change in your life, give yourself 28 days minimum to make a change. So you have to practice it every day for 28 days. If you leave out a day, let's be fair, go back, start again. That's your penalty for forgetting.
The fact of owning money itself may not make the person feel any more secure and any more happy. In fact, it might even make them feel that they want to have more money and then more money and then more money. And they end up being unsatisfied. And unsatisfied is an unhappy state.
Although we can't buy happiness, obviously the things that are successful in life, like a good job and happy in your work, successful relationships and creative activity, do bring a certain amount of happiness. However, I find in my own experience and the experiences I have with other people is that there is something deeper within that is part of our nature, and happiness, true happiness, perhaps that's the operative word here, true happiness is something that springs from within us.
But if we can live in a way that places happiness first, maybe our attention can go away from the getting and the spending into the being.
Happiness doesn't need to be deferred. Some people think they have to plan to be happy, that they'll be happy tomorrow or next week or next year, or that their happiness is conditional. I'll be happy when this problem is over. I'll be happy when I'm married, I'll be happy when I've got children, I'll be happy when I'm rich, when I've built my business. It doesn't work like that.
I believe that showing appreciation, having a mindset of gratitude for people, for things, for everything, is a wonderful key to being happy.
It's a good word, key, because it denotes sort of unlocking something.
It's learning to love yourself. It's moving from having low self-esteem to high self-esteem, to believe in yourself. And when you do that, you're going to be able to have the confidence to overcome any challenge that comes into your life.
The key to being happy is being fully accepting of your current situation, of looking at your life as it is now, warts and all, and saying, look, I accept it, and being satisfied with it. Now you might say, I can't be satisfied with my life. You don't know the troubles I've got. all have troubles, but it's where you put your focus that makes the difference. If you focus on the things that you feel are insurmountable, then that's how your life will be. It will be a constant mountain, a constant battle. But if you focus your life on the things about your life that you like, the things that are great and wonderful, the things that you're okay about or that you're content about or feel peaceful about, then your life starts looking a lot better. And when you start saying, I accept my life and I can be satisfied with it as it is now, it gives you so much more energy. It frees you up to do so much more with your life.
The key to achieving happiness is realising that you're the driver of your own happiness. Happiness is contained in the software that you run between your ears. It's about being grateful for what you've got. It's about telling yourself that this is what you've got right now, being content in the moment. The key to happiness is realising that your thoughts create how you feel. So we're all wired up the same way. So if you think how lucky you are, if you think how good the world is, then you're going to be instantly happy. If you think how miserable things are, then that makes you unhappy. So what you feel is determined directly by what you think.
No matter what I read, no matter what happens, I can still be peaceful in my mind and creative in my mind. I can still enjoy a rainy day. I can enjoy the wind in a storm.
The key to happiness lies in knowing and rediscovering who we truly are. That we are termed, and it's a common term, a spiritual being having a human experience rather than a human being endeavouring to be more spiritual. Not religious, I mean spiritual. Tuning into the law of the universe that we will never really fully understand with our conscious mind. So happiness is something that we can unlock from within ourselves, and the key to that is through our mind power.
Now, it isn't easy to do that. It takes a mind shift, but it can be done. And one of the best ways to do it is to look at other people and look at how they have achieved that mind shift.
I believe now that the path to happiness is to have what I call a creative mindset. Let me compare that with the competitive mindset. And the example that immediately comes to mind is driving along the road, say the motorway. Someone cuts in front of me. To be absolutely truthful, my instinct is I would love to tailgate him and teach him a lesson. That's a competitive mindset, and you see it every day. What would be a creative solution to someone behaving badly on the road? It's a challenge. For me, the solution I've come up with is to say, right, there's a moron behind the wheel of a car. Am I going to let him upset my day? Am I going to give a competitive response or a creative response? I let it go, it doesn't matter. I don't need to tailgate him. I don't need to get revenge. My creative response is acceptance.
If you're friendly, you let someone else in first, your blood pressure goes down. And they've looked at the groups of people, and those that have got the most angry have 5 times the risk of heart disease of those who've got least angry in those sorts of settings.
We've got to put ourselves first because we're the most important person in our life. We've got to have good health so that we can do what we want to do. We've got to have love because that's what makes the world turn around. We've got to work out what we want to do, which is our work and our passion, and then we've got to have some finances and to be able to create what we want, and also to do something for our community. And so we've got 6 areas of life that I believe that we look at, and I believe that we've got to get all those 6 areas of life working at a high level of satisfaction in each level. My logo is the @ sign that you see on the keyboard, and I say that we're always at a different place in each of those 6 areas of life.
I strive to be happy, okay? I strive to be happy, okay? And the striving isn't, I think the striving is just in the sentence there. It's certainly not a burden. But it's reminding myself that this is my natural state, and the way that I can give more to the world just by being happy.
thoughts become prayers, because prayer is not something we do just one day a week or twice a day. Prayers are really scientific. They're about using the law of the universe through the power of our thinking to create the good that we desire in our life. And we can deny the things that affect us in our personal life. We can say to a situation that is just troubling us, or in a workforce situation where people are getting on our back about things and it's raising up different feelings within us, we can learn to say, this has no real power over me. I'm giving it power because I'm choosing to give focus to that attention and energy to that situation. Whereas if we choose to affirm the truth that we want and simply say, this situation or this person has no real power over me, I can affirm that I am calm and poised and able to deal with this situation. And we call that the law of mind action.
The ability to let go the negative things means that they no longer have an impact on you in the present or in the future.
We need to find meaning, and it's meaning that helps us find happiness.
The challenge is to see every moment as an invitation to respond creatively.
So through the power of our thought, we can co-create and bring forth happiness in our life.
If I want to be happy, and if I choose this as my pathway, which I do, then my response to events, to circumstances, to people is to be creative.
We're always going to have challenges. We've got a whole lot of things that we're working on in our life. The tests that the universe sends us are going to be tests that you are going to be able to overcome.
If someone's desperately unhappy, bordering on being inconsolable, then as a medical doctor, I see people like that every day in my clinic that are coming in, whether they're suicidal or whether they're just miserable with their illness or just miserable with their life. The first thing to do is to work out whether they've got a hardware problem or a software problem. And we've got a mind, which is the software, and we've got our brain, which is the hardware. So I try and work out, is your unhappiness coming from a software problem, like what you're telling yourself, or is your unhappiness coming from a hardware problem, like you might be low in neurotransmitters? It's just like a computer. You can't run great software if your hardware's shot.
You just have to be with it, know it, not try to escape from it. I think it's when we try to run away from it that we can get stuck. Or it can create a lot more pain.
And when I talk to the majority of people, I haven't heard many who want to live forever, but while they're here, they want to feel happy, peaceful, contented, and contributing to the world.
I would encourage people to get professional help if you, in terms of a doctor or a psychologist, if you are miserable.
They can help you with either counselling or medication. And they're additive. If you're on a medication that helps your brain to function in a normal way, and you do counselling so that you can understand the things that have made you depressed, how you can reach for your goals in the future. All of these things can help you to come back to what's your normal set point of happiness and to maximise it.
Yeah, but if you're unhappy, it's like just sinking into that feeling and understanding where that really comes from. Sometimes when you allow yourself to really be in that feeling, it's somehow we start to see a way out of it. Maybe there's something we need to say to somebody. It's just finding the answer within the pain of what do I need to do next.
Being unhappy can make you sick, and definitely being happy can make you healthier, live longer, less disease, better immune function, better heart health, better thinking and cognition, less likely to get Alzheimer's. So there's a real definite win in being happy.
Family doctors have training in understanding depression, in helping you to survive in the present so that you can eat and sleep and make it through the current day.
I think it's an important point that if people are miserable, that they do go and get professional help, see your doctor, because you may need your hardware fixed. And that's what medication does. It's not like taking a happy pill, but it just can get your neurotransmitters up to a level where you can start using your software to work on your hardware. So if you've got a family history of unhappiness, then you may have a good medical reason why you may be unhappy.
I strike a lot of desperately unhappy people in the work that I do. People who are depressed, people who've got addictions, people who've got eating disorders, or it might just be emotional eating or stress or burnout. Whatever it is, the first thing I say to people is that I do understand because I've been there. At one stage, I set myself a goal that if things didn't get better by the time I turned 40, I had decided I was going to commit suicide. I felt exactly the way they did. I felt like there was no way out of it.
I think in life we all, in this journey, we all feel at times, what is this to me? What's happening in my life? So if I'm with somebody who is feeling that state of mind, I just sit with them and allow them, in the sense, the freedom to know that they're safe and they can say the things that they need to say, which can sound irrational and totally neurotic to those close to them and friends, without fear of being pounced on and given a remedy and rescued and told what to do.
You may see me now as a successful person, but 20 years ago, I was not a successful person. And what was happening is that my mind was telling me that I was no good and, that I was not worthy. And so there was that happening in my mind, but at the same time, I had another voice as well who was telling me that I was okay. So my thoughts were negative versus positive, and I had to make a choice.
If someone came to me and said, I'm desperately unhappy, the first thing I'd ask is, what do you want? It might seem an odd question, but my sense is some people actually want to stay there and be unhappy. I do believe that happiness is a choice.
There is a solution. You can get better. For some people, that may mean they have to do other things. They may have to take medications or vitamin supplements. But for most people, it's about changing what's in here. When you're depressed, when you're sad, when you're agitated or irritated, you just have a negative filter over everything. You lose interest in things. You just think, it's not worth trying. Now, what's the point? It's not going to get any better. You take one bad thing that happens and you just think, everything's going to be bad from now on. You start overgeneralizing. You just start thinking that everything is going wrong, and you ignore. You filter out all the good things. You forget that you are actually a healthy person. You forget that you do have friends that love you, or maybe it's just that you've got a cat or a dog that loves you.
And that is a principle of the universe, that within every challenge or problem in our life, there is also the solution.
And the first step might be to have the courage to go within and find out what's going on. And it might be, the answer might come out, oh, I'm unhappy because I don't have enough money and I can't make things happen. I can't feed my family properly. I can't do this, I can't do that. And then I would ask, and what lies underneath that fear? I can ask these questions because these are questions I've asked myself. And when I asked that same question, it was about the same issue of money. I found that underneath the fear was grief. I was really, really sad, and I never really realised it.
You filter it out. John Kerwin has been a great ambassador for depression because he's talked about it and about how illogical it is. There he was at the height of his rugby career. Well, you or I would imagine he must be a happy guy. He was successful. He was doing his sports, he was physically active, he was married, he had kids, he had a high profile. He was a popular, successful guy. But he wasn't happy. And when one little thing went wrong, he blamed himself. There's a famous incident where he dropped the ball, and he dropped it literally, but he dropped it metaphorically too, because when he dropped the ball, he just felt miserable. He beat himself up about it for months afterwards. And that is something that a lot of people do when they're unhappy. They look back at things that have gone wrong and they dwell on them and they beat themselves up. Over time, he learned that it's not just about, oh, be happy, cheer up, chin up, that sort of thing. It's about taking steps to change the way you look at things. It's about looking at that filter that we talked about and changing it to a more positive filter. It's about looking at your skills and how you cope with things. More importantly, it's about how you react.
And that's what life is about. So you've got to make a choice now. There will be a thought, and everyone has that voice in their head, whether they call it, their ego, their subconscious, God, the universe, the inner critic, whatever it is, I don't care. But you just acknowledge that it's there, and your job is to be able to control that and to be able to turn it around so that you are positive.
Some people can be addicted to being miserable, but I prefer to be allergic to being miserable. So why would you want to go around being miserable? Get some professional help and get it sorted out, because you can cure unhappiness.
The route to true happiness is really right now. Always thinking about either what we're going to do in the future or what the past has been often robs us of really the happiness in the moment.
Life is about deciding on your own life rules, and people use the word values, but I use the word life rules because it's your life, and you've got to choose whether the way that you're thinking is working for you or not working for you. And if it's not working for you and you're not feeling okay about something, then it's taking a step to go and find a book or listen to a seminar or watch this video and find a new life rule for yourself.
But research shows there are 5 things that you need to become happy, the 5 major things. In other words, without these 5 things, it's pretty hard to be happy. And these 5 things are family, friends, financial security, health, and a sense of purpose. Those 5 things are like the key foundations to being happy. People need to have a sense of purpose. And I see people perhaps aren't as happy as they should be. They've got lots of money, but their sense of purpose was amassing lots of money. They get there and then they go, well, I've done that, I don't have a sense of purpose. So having a sense of purpose definitely helps to make you happier.
The things that really, really, truly satisfy us and make us happy is the times that we spend, quality times in relationships with our loved ones and others. And that means for me, when I'm the most busy, for instance, I get my schedule going, perhaps for a Saturday. I know what I'm going to do, and then in comes my son and daughter-in-law and our 2 grandchildren, and it goes right out the door. What I've come to know is that what I had in mind needs to go to the side and to give my full attention to them and enjoy them in the now. So the route to happiness is really right now, because if I'm unhappy now, or if I have my mind on what I need to do instead of on their presence and enjoying them, I'm really not either in one place or the other. I'm somewhere in limbo in between. So the route to happiness is that I can change my thoughts right now.
I've seen many people who have been waiting for a certain point in their lives, then they will be happy. At the same time enduring unhappiness, waiting for something to happen, basically, like retirement to make them happy. And when that happens, all they meet is a void. If one is in an unhappy job and is somehow waiting for retirement to make one happy, I would prefer that person move the job to something they were truly happy in and would feel that they wouldn't have to retire from that. Waiting for retirement to make one happy, I believe is a big trap.
In the first 7 years of your life, it's the time when you learn so much. And if you recall back, you may remember some of the things when you learnt to walk and how many times you fell over, you will have forgotten. You will have learned how to talk and you will have learned how to put sentences together. And you will have also learned to do things like think. And the thinking is the things that are going to determine where you go forward in your life. And some of those thoughts may be great, and some of those thoughts and those things that you've been taught will not be so great. And as you journey through life, it's realigning the thoughts that are not so great into positive thoughts so that you actually create the rules for your own life.
Because each one of us has got a destiny. Each one of us has got a reason to be here. And if we find that reason, there's an explosion of happiness from that. Because we'll start to do things with passion, with the wholeness of our being, and we'll become fully engaged. And if there appear to be problems in the way, we'll find our way through, because that passion of being congruent with everything about us, the thing that urges us on because only we can do it. And history has many, many examples of people like this. Always the great people, the great leaders. They are the way showers. They are the ones that lead us on and teach us. Have the courage to be, put aside the fear, and reach out into that place of our destiny. So we are rooted in the ground of our being, reaching to the stars.
I may get up in the morning and say, what is my day going to bring forth? This is what my day needs to come forth as I perceive it. But as the day unfolds in a different way, it's up to me how I feel and to check out if I'm responding or reacting. And for me, that is a true route to happiness, is checking out my thoughts about a situation. It doesn't matter whether it's about your money situation or about your relationships. It's about getting in touch and listening to what you're saying so that you know what you actually are believing, because it's through our belief system that reflects through our thoughts and into our words and actions that is the true route to happiness.
So it's really connecting with our bodies. I really feel that our bodies are telling us all the time, or giving us information that we need to follow. And when we have strong feelings coming up, sometimes it's a sign that we're needing to do something about it. We need to make a choice. We need to look at it and find out what it's telling us.
Put the things we enjoy into life, but also don't dwell on the bad things that happen in life, because they're totally unavoidable. If you let go the bad things, if you focus on the good things, if you savour the good things, if you learn to put your effort in life into the things that are associated with happiness, then you do become more happy. And that's your closest relationships, your friends, your family, doing the things you've got strengths in, doing the things you enjoy.
For me, showing gratitude and expressing appreciation and acknowledgement is a very powerful key to happiness.
And the only power we have in truth is the power over our thoughts. That is the only thing that we can truly control. We can't control other people. We think we can. World governments think they can. But in truth, that is not as I perceive it, a truth.
One of the images I use in my work a lot is the infinity sign, okay, the infinity sign. And this is very much like the yin-yang sign in Chinese medicine, which shows that within all light areas there's a center of darkness, and in all dark areas there's a center of lightness, okay? You can't have the night and the day are equally important. You can't have the day without the night. The night isn't bad, the day isn't good. They have different sides to them. So the difficulties that we have are there for a reason. We have a joy in being able to overcome them. The difficult days, though, can also highlight, if you like, the good days that we're having, that we have the balance.
And there are ugly things that people do in the world, that is true. But within every being there is a truth point, and the route to happiness for every person, no matter what circumstances, there is always the way to a better and more beautiful life through your thoughts.
I think one of the things with jobs is that in our current age we're not stuck in any one job, that people can and are able to change jobs. So if you're looking for a job, ideally you'd look for something that you'd want to do even if you weren't paid for it. But failing that, something that at least can use your strengths, the things that you're good at, the place where you're in that sweet spot where things are easy for you. And feel some sort of control over what you're doing so that you can use those strengths, then you're going to be happier.
I feel very strongly that we need to be involved in work or occupations that we really happy and enjoy, and ones that we really in some way would be able to continue, expand and contribute for all our lives as well.
A lot of people feel that their work is a dreadful place to work. They complain about their bosses, their job, the type of work they do. Or perhaps they just don't even want to work. They'd rather be out there free. They'd rather be dancing, or they'd rather be going on trips, or just sitting back, reading, having a beer, going fishing. But a lot of us do need to work. We need to work to earn money. We need to work to give us structure in our lives, to give us a sense of purpose. So when things are going wrong with work, and it's a part of your life that you're spending such a big time at, it can become a major issue. I always recommend to break it down, and I use the acronym ACT: accept, change, or terminate. So anytime you've got a problem in your work, look at these things and see what you can do.
There's a little exercise that I suggest, and it is take a simple, plain A4 piece of paper, fold it in half, and then fold it in half again, so that you have 4 columns. Now in the first column, you put the word interests. And in that column, in that first column, you put everything that interests you. In the second column, the heading is fascinates, the things that you remember, the things that you like to do often. The third column is, the heading is excites. This is a list of the things in your life that excite you, the things that really get you going, the things that you love to do. It might be something from the fascinates column, like what I really love doing is running over mountaintops or listening to music. In the final column, it's passion. What am I passionate about? And probably you'll finish up with maybe 2 or 3 items in that column, because the columns as you go across the page do tend to get a bit shorter. so that what excites you will be a smaller column than what interests you. Now, in terms of your career, I suggest that you have a look at the what excites you column, because that's where you will find what you're good at, what you're enthusiastic about, and if you're not enthusiastic or excited about your job or career, you may be in the wrong job.
My youngest daughter had an affinity with animals, and so she was always playing with the animals. And as she grew up, she had just an instinct about them. And my eldest daughter also had a passion, and it was to be painting and creating. And as they grew up, I really cherished their passion, and they could spend all day painting and all day just working in the zoo and working with animals and be happy. So it's important that we find our passion and use our gift and our talent to bring us happiness. So one daughter is now in interior design, doing exactly what she did when she was a child at preschool. And the other one is using her gifts and talents and loving being a vet nurse. And in doing that, it means that they too are on a journey and to self-discovery, to discovering their happiness.
And if we're in a job that doesn't work for us, maybe look at what isn't working. And then sit down and find what is it that in ourselves sings. What gives us great happiness. And either search for a job where it embodies those characteristics, or if you have the courage, create the job.
Because there's a part of human nature that tends to want to stay in that comfort zone. We get into this stretch and grow suit that we sort of like little babies, they put babies into, and the buttons pop on those and the parent puts them into a larger one. Well, we too as humans, although there's a part of us that's urging to express more and step out, but there's this other side of us, we call it the ego side, that says, no, you can't do that. You're really safe here and it's comfortable. Just stay where you are.
But enjoying a job is often about the culture that surrounds that job. And the key thing I'd look for in a new job would be the culture that you're buying into. Anyone with the right personality can learn anything, but you can't change the culture that surrounds the job. So the culture you're looking for is one that looks to people's strengths, that gives them maximal control within it. And one of the examples in this area is the car company that decided out of the blue, yes, that the team could build a whole car rather than make one part of it all day. And the job satisfaction in that car company was very much higher and the job retention was very much higher. So things that you can do that make your job better for you also make things better for the company.
There are 4 ways to know if you're on track. They're like a 4-pointed star. The first thing is go into your heart. The heart will always tell you the truth. And if there's some maybes, it means not quite. Or it says no, don't even go further. The second thing is the body. Body cannot lie. Sense yourself physically in this job that either is on offer or that you wish to create. See if it feels right in the body, physically. Experience going to it, coming back from it, creating in it. Because the body must be happy. If the body's happy, the heart's happy, you're well down the track. If you're getting I don't knows, that means no. The third place to go to, so important, is your spirit. When you've gone there, if you've got a yes on each count, finally go to the head. Your mind will come up with a clear picture. Go to the head in terms of the intellect. The intellect is that part which compares, contrasts, analyzes. It is very important. You have to ask the obvious questions. like the financial aspects, the travel aspects, the hours of work, the relationships, all those common things that we look at about work. Often they're the first things we think about. I would say leave those things to last. Because if all the other aspects are in tune, you'll be in tune from the intellectual point of view. And you'll be able to figure it out, because then you'll bring your whole self into the question. If you only use the intellect, it might end up being another muddled decision.
So anybody in a situation in workforce where they're not happy, my thought for them would be, what is it that they don't like about the work that they're doing? And to look at that list and think about making a list of the type of quality of work or situation or environment that they would like, because there we're starting to get into acknowledging what isn't working and looking at what we do want to work. And there again, that's the law of the universe, that to praise that which we wish to increase is really, really important principle.
40% of the time people are unhappy about their jobs, even their personal lives, which is a big loss of efficiency. If you're unhappy about your job, I think you either change your attitude to your job or you change the job. It's that simple.
They may well be clinically depressed and not sleeping and have chronic pain or blood pressure. And all this is saying, hey, you know, a change is needed. And yet I hear people say, okay, well, I know a change is needed, but it's really inconvenient at the moment. You know, we're doing these overseas deals and I've just got to do 3 more overseas trips and I'm setting this up and I've got to pay for this. And they're saying that, their mouths are saying that. Their bodies are saying, hey, no, get out of this now. This is not right. And I've seen in those people who don't get out of it, the body up the ante. And maybe that blood pressure will go high, or a hemorrhage will occur, or somebody who has an angina, they'll develop into a heart attack. And I've even had 2 people who have developed cancer when the early warning signs weren't listened to. It's as if the body knows very well what needs to be done.
Why is it important to be happy? Well, I think the consequences of being unhappy are quite profound. Studies show you're 3 times more likely to have a heart attack 20 minutes after you get angry or throw a hissy fit. You're like many more times to get dementia with chronic stress, anxiety and frustration. So it's not just a matter of saying, well, I'm happy, it's the world looks great. The more unhappy you are, the sicker you get.
For anyone who is not happy in their work, look around and give thanks for the things that you can do. Make a list perhaps of the things that you no longer like in your work. Make a list of the things that you would like, and then give thanks that you're open and receptive to the new opportunities, and you will be surprised what will come forth from that in such unexpected ways that it seems like a miracle, but it really is the law working. Giving praise and gratitude in every situation is a principle of the universe.
The first step is being kind to yourself, to have good relationships with other people, which really is central to your happiness. You have to be good to yourself. Allow yourself to make errors. You have to do things that encourage your self-esteem, put yourself in situations that you can enjoy, places that you're good at doing those things. If you can forgive yourself and enjoy yourself, then you'll be good at enjoying other people.
Optimism is another ingredient to happiness. Now, optimism, you sort of see that as the half glass full. Yes, that is part of optimism, but psychologists have looked at it even more closely and they've defined it as having two key ingredients. The first ingredient is believing things are temporary. So when you have setbacks and obstacles, instead of saying to yourself, oh my goodness, that's it. I'll never be able to write again. I'll never be able to walk again. I will never ever be able to look that person in the face again. You say to yourself, well look, this will pass. In time, this will pass. And by taking that attitude, you feel much happier because it takes a load off your back and it gives you something to look forward to.
The first step to finding happiness is working out what I call emotional algebra, which is working out that your emotions and how you feel about the world comes from what you think. And as I say, we call that emotional algebra. So the first step to happiness is realising that you control it. Other people don't make you happy or unhappy. It really comes down to you and what you're telling yourself about your world.
To me, happiness is of its nature somewhat unstable.
It's understanding that you've got choices, that choice A, it's going to take you down a happier path, and choice B, you've got a bigger fear to overcome. So that's also another thing to take into consideration when you're thinking about happiness. And also the can and the can't change, that we can be unhappy about something that we can change, and that is A, our job, our health, our relationship. But we can't change some things. And so being unhappy about things that we can't change is really wasting our time and our energy.
Happiness is like a joy. It's like springtime. It's like a river. It's beautiful. And if we're open to it, it can come out of the deepest adversity.
I would say be with happy people. Be with children, because children are naturally happy. They know that. Be with pets, they're naturally happy as well. Surround yourself with happiness.
People should expect to feel happy because that is our basic true nature. Happiness is an inside job, that everything comes from inside out. You've only got to look at nature. When we as human beings try to do it the other way, we try to make it work in the outer and then go in. Instead, it's within us. We know that going within gives us the opportunity to pursue who we truly are and to express that, because we actually have come into this world to express greater and greater possibilities of who we are.
We can't change that it's raining today, but we can change what we're going to do. And so it's understanding that those are events and things that we are always going to crop up in life, and that we have a choice in our thinking how we are going to react to it.
So if you want to be happy, make it easy for yourself. Say to yourself, I'm going to be happy today. There may be things in your life that you look at and you think, all right, that's not quite as good as it could be. So the first step, once you've decided to be happy today, is to look at those things and to set your goals and set your plans. Break it down one step at a time and keep moving towards where you want to go. But never forgetting that there are good things about your life right here and today.
I guess one way to look at happiness is a little bit like the sun and the clouds. Sometimes we have clouds that go over the sun, which is our happiness factor. It's always there, our happiness. It's just certain things will move over it and cloud our happiness. So if you expect to be happy all the time, you're probably going to be disappointed, but you could expect to use the tools that we teach to become happier on a daily basis.
If you look at someone who's become paraplegic, even 8 weeks after the accident, they report more positive than more negative emotions. They begin to adapt to things. If you look at quadriplegics, 84% of these guys say that they're averagely happy or above average happiness. People are able to deal with a lot of the knocks in life. You only have to look at the back of the Cancer Day, Daffodil Day envelope to see someone with cancer saying, I didn't realise cancer was about life, that she's looking positively towards the future. There are a lot of knocks in life, and you can adapt to the most amazing things.
When you think of the classical examples in the modern world of the Dalai Lama, for instance, and Nelson Mandela, both of those people have had very, very difficult times of incarceration in their lives, of exile, of times where, in fact, we would almost feel that they've been living a living hell. And yet, those people, those two, and others besides, come out and infect us with their happiness and their forgiveness of others who may have put them through this.
People who are very happy have very much a more social, a more actively social life than other people. They themselves rate themselves at good at relationships, and the people around them, their friends, rate themselves at being good at relationships. Or it may be something in their happiness that other people like. If you're happy, people like to be with you, and you like to be with other people. So I think relationships are key to happiness.
If we can bring our contentment, our balance, and our inner happiness to someone or a situation, this is immensely valuable, and I think far more valuable than words.
There's lots of really simple tips you can try to be happier. People often roll their eyes when I mention them in workshops. Gratitude, exercise, meditation. When you think about meditation, don't imagine that you have to sit there going, It doesn't have to be like that. You can meditate while you're walking, you can meditate while you're dancing. You can do it sitting, you can do it lying down. You can do it in just about every situation. That even monotonous jobs, if you let your mind just go free and just let it relax and just let go of your thoughts, that is a type of meditation. It changes the brain. And you think that the wiring you've got in your brain is set. It isn't. When you change the way you think, when you do different activities, when you exercise more, when you relax more, when you take time out and relax and meditate, it makes you happier. It increases gamma wave activity and it physically changes your set point. So that means that you keep bouncing back to a higher point of happiness. So it really is worth giving it a go.
Happiness is a common experience, but not all the time. If we think of the seasons, we have winter. It teaches us there's a slow down time, there's a time of darkness. But after winter, there is spring. Isn't that beautiful? It's a time of new life, growth. Then there's a time of flowering, summer. Then there's a time of letting it go, autumn. I think these seasons help us to understand that even happiness has its seasons. But if we go into loss, which is inevitable being human, or if we have had some difficulties, maybe there isn't immediate happiness in it. But if we can find a deep strength within ourselves, a real resilience in our resourcefulness because we know who we are, and we touch into our deep power, and we're in touch with our spirit, as well as all aspects of ourselves, yes, then we can find our way back to happiness.
We grumble and complain for a reason. Some people grumble and complain because they actually like people listening to them, and in a way, if we listen to people who are grumbling and complaining, we're reinforcing their behaviour because that's the way they get attention. In terms of, I think, before grumbling and complaining, we should look at our own set of circumstances and thoughts. And once again, happiness is created internally, and we've come up with a whole lot of thinking profiles, and one of them is the denialist, and the denialist will blame everybody else for your unhappiness. So I think the first thing to do is start looking at yourself and claiming responsibility for your own happiness and try and do something about it before you blame the government or the weather. You know, the funny thing is everyone's always complaining about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it.
It's raining. Oh, I don't like the rain. The sun is shining. Oh, I'm happy. I love the sun. Happiness is here today and gone tomorrow and back the next day. So is there a link then between happiness and contentment? Absolutely there is a link. Contentment is a stable, flowing attitude of mind. How do you get contentment then?
Contentment for myself, as I perceive it, is something that I'm content when I have done a job well done. At the end of the day, when everything's done. Contentment in many ways of achieving things that I have set goals to achieve. But happiness is even deeper than that. It stems from joy.
Being content is about mindfulness, which is about being in the moment. And you know, people often say, oh, when I get that big boat, that'll make me happy. Well, getting to the big boat's going to make you happy. It's the journey that can make you happy. So if you're content, you can live in the moment and appreciate, like, at least I'm still breathing, I'm alive, I've got a family or whatever. That contentment with the moment will make you happy.
People who are happy tend to be satisfied with their lives. They tend to value the important things in lives, their friendships, their relationships. They tend to place less evidence on the things that aren't affected with happiness. They place less evidence, less impact on their income or their education level or the other things that are not related to it. So I think happy people are content, but I think there's also a difference between contentment and happiness.
So there's a certain sense of contentment that we're on the journey. And to me, that's where I believe that there is a certain link.
So the quality of contentment can move into being an area where we can be complacent. Contentment can run there, but contentment can also lean towards greater happiness, because what at the end of the day makes us most happy? And I believe that within every human being there is a desire to share who they are with other people, because there is a saying that love is the fulfilling of the law, and love expressed through the many, many diversity of qualities of sharing love is limitless.
Contentment could be having a lovely meal and a good glass of wine or whatever you enjoy, and just knowing that was good. It's a very pleasant thing. And out of that can bubble this beautiful wellspring. And suddenly you know you're just delighted. Now that delight is another level up. It's another vibration. You could be walking down the beach or on your favourite pathway through a wood or some place that you thoroughly enjoy, or could be shopping. Whatever is stimulating and beautiful to you, and then suddenly you feel happy. Or could be watching a child play, or a piece of music, or creating something. I think happiness is often linked with creation.
I recommend people, before you go to bed at night, just have a little notebook by your bed and write down 10 things you're grateful for that day. It may be the same things as yesterday, but focusing on things you're grateful for brings up a whole different way of looking at life. We start to look at the things that do give us joy and pleasure. It has a whole effect on our body.
There will always be rainy days, there will always be wars, there will probably always be some form of terrorism. We terrorise ourselves through our negative thinking. But there's always something that upsets me. There's always somebody who gets up my nose or whatever. There will always be something to complain about.
Happiness is a deep inner knowing that whatever happens in life, that there is a part within me that I can tap into that can release the qualities that I need to help me move through situations that are less than happy. And when I'm content, it means I purr like a cat, that I've done a good job.
A big goal doesn't happen in one day. There are always going to be maybe 20, maybe 50, maybe 100 little goals that you have to work towards before you achieve your big goal. So it's having faith in yourself that you are working towards your big goal that you want to have in your life. So there's a certain sense of contentment that we're on the journey.
Turn the TV off. Just taste your food. Look at the food and taste it. Just be a witness to the food. Do you taste your food? We eat, we talk, we watch TV, we chatter.
We really can be helped if we laugh at ourselves, okay? It does us a lot of good.
If you can write out a problem you've got in your life in one clear, succinct sentence, and then maybe turn it into a question and say, how can I fix XYZ, then you will notice that almost immediately you get clarity and you find it a lot easier to solve. So while grumbling and complaining and whining is annoying, if you can just, instead of turning that into something that goes on and on and on, have the complaint, get it out of your system, and then say, right, how do I fix it? That is the solution to finding happiness.
you.